What is up, everybody? Episode number 49 coming at you right now. Big Five Pod. Happy to be here. Happy to be back. We had a week off. Not a whole lot to talk about. Giving ourselves a little break, but we're back and we're better than ever. I'm, of course, your co-host, Kyle Morello. And next to me is your other co-host, Jay Copestick. How we doing, Cope?
We're doing well. We're doing well. We did have an episode last week. We're like as promised. We're here in the dog days. We're here. Schools are filling up. Some scheduling news is starting to trickle in. Some recruiting news is starting to trickle in. There was just a dead period for not only the recruiting of prospective recruits for this year, but there's also a dead period that's about to start for high school sophomores that can now start being recruited. So everyone's kind of had a little bit of a break, for a little bit. So I'm doing well. The rest has been nice. Weather's been great. Stanley Cup's on, NBA Finals, both could be wrapped up in the next 2 days. So we're really could have nothing but baseball as we head into summer here.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I'm a baseball nut, so I'm not upset at that, though. And as you know very well, because you've been texting me literally every single day, since we recorded the last episode, when the Mets swept the Phillies, and I of course brought out the broom. As of this recording, the Mets have lost 8 of 9, and have fallen to 31 and 35. So not great. I think there have been better records to be had. So that's not good. And I know you're very happy about that. We've talked
Yeah,
about it.
and I think
It's
the Phils are 7-1 or 7-2 since then. So
yeah.
I told you the June swoon was coming. It's just, it's in the Mets DNA to choke this month, and that's they've been really, really good at that. And it's been funny.
Yeah,
It's been funny. It's been I've enjoyed texting you every day. They're inventing new ways to lose. They score 8 off Spencer Strider and still lose in extras. They never cease to amaze me, the Mets.
we lost two. I think it was two one-run games and like a three-run game against the Blue Jays. We then were winning by 3 runs in every single game against the Braves, and then had a couple close. Well, won a game against the Pirates, lost a close game, got blown out the other one. So all winnable games, and just hasn't happened. Not good, but regardless, we got some college basketball to talk about. Not a lot, but we do have some. So let's get into it. First thing first, you mentioned some recruiting. We do have some recruiting news. The George School's Kristen Bliss, who we've talked about before, has Villanova in his Final Four, which is really, really good to hear. He's down to Miami, Virginia, Xavier, as his other three in the Final Four. And this is a big time prospect. So, Cope, what do you think Nova's chances are of landing him? Do you think he might fit better in some other schools? I know we've talked about Miami with him potentially. But what do you think about this Christian Bliss news with Nova being in the Final Four?
Yeah, so they're the only school of this four to have him in for an official visit. These other three is going to visit this month and next month and ultimately make his decision. So we don't really have a timeline decision wise, but I think the chances are very, very good. Him being a local guy, a big ball handler who can score the ball and has some positional size, I think will fit right in with what they want to do. But I look at Miami. Historically, they've been good at recruiting guys in this area to go down there. And I've said probably a couple of times before we've seen Miami on list of recruits. It's not a hard pitch. They just made their first Final Four, and I'm sure if you go down there in February as opposed to up here in February, it's probably not a very hard pitch to get you to want to go there. But you look at all the success their guards have had and scoring guards at that could be an intriguing option. Virginia, their offense was bad last year. They, in the worst way, need somebody who can create their own shot. And Christian Bliss could be that for them. He definitely could. And I look at Xavier, you look at all the success their guards had. Sule Boom comes over from UTEP. He kind of tailed off toward the end of the season, but for a good period of time, I think you could have made the argument he was potentially Big East Player of the Year. That's how well Sule Boom is playing. Kobe Jones is going to get drafted in a couple weeks, and they have a lot of young players on the roster. He could fit in there. So four very good options for him. But Villanova, they're the only one to date, at least to my knowledge, that's brought him in for a visit. They put him up in the Ritz Carlton or somewhere nice down in the city, and then had him come to campus and trick them out. So they certainly want him badly, and they've shown him that. And him being a local guy, I think something could work here. Also point out, also talk about how many 5th-year guys are going to be leaving next year. Hakeem Hart's done, Tyler Burton's done, Dixon, Justin Moore. These guys are all out next year. for Sargent-Diacono. So they're going to need to bring in a lot of players. You can hit the portal, but I would advise that you probably take a couple recruits here, so he could certainly be one of them. I think their chances are really good, and he could fit right in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, talked about all those fifth years who are and seniors who are going to be done at the end of this coming season. It's going to be a lot for Nova, so definitely getting some younger guys in there will help. And obviously, Kyle Nipson's going to hit the portal like he did this year. But uh, when you have a chance to keep a big time prospect home, you should probably do it. You should probably do it. So we'll see what happens there. That's really it for players though that we have right now. Scheduling news we're going to get into though. LaSalle and Northeastern will be beginning a home and home series. Don't know when the dates are going to be. First game will be at LaSalle this year, and the next one will be at Boston or in Boston at Northeastern next season. Again, don't know the dates for any of them. Obviously for next season, but this season as well. LaSalle 3-1 all time against Northeastern, and the most recent meeting was December 8th, 2012. Was a 66-64 win for the Explorers. And shout out to the Goal Boys for this, but there's a video that we saw of a Tyreek Duran runner in the final seconds when they posted about this. So shout out to the Goal Boys. But yeah, it was a long time ago. It's about a decade ago, Cope, that the last time these two teams played. Now they're going to be matching up for a home and home. What do you make of this?
So first of all, this is a game that they should win, probably both years. Last time they played, that was the year LaSalle made the Sweet 16. Different, just a different era that we're in now, unfortunately, when they got that at large in the A10. But yeah, this is a team that they should beat. Northeastern, so they had Tyson Walker, who's come back for a fifth year and played very well at Michigan State the last 2 years. That COVID shortened season, they went 10-9 when they had him, and he then transferred to Michigan State. He was all CAA that year and was Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. And ever since Tyson Walker's left, this team is 19-42 the last 2 seasons. So they have missed Tyson Walker quite a bit. Just haven't been able to recover from that or bring in any talent. I mean, look, when you have a guy who can go play well at Michigan State and start, guys like that in the CAA don't come up very often. So it's a team they should beat, whether it's at Tom Gola this year, whether that's on the road in Boston next year. Definitely a team they should beat. I guess it's kind of comparable. They do play Drexel in the CAA, and LaSalle unfortunately lost to Drexel last year at home. But there's a team they should beat. Plain and simple as that. Struggled the last 2 years without their star guard and Tyson Walker. This year, next year, wherever it may be, it's a game LaSalle's got to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they historically aren't a great program, and even especially in the last 2 seasons, they have not been doing too hot. So it's definitely a game the Fran Dunphy and company should look forward to the next couple of years. I think this could definitely be a win on their schedule. Much needed, of course. Some other news. Drexel, haven't talked a ton about them. Welcome to the Big Five, of course, but they will be hosting the Market Street Challenge along with Fairfield and Queens College, which will be November 17th. Fairfield will play Drexel. November 18th, Queens College will play at Fairfield. And then on the 19th, Queens will play at Drexel. That's a Sunday. It's a really interesting group of colleges here. Definitely can't say I was expecting something like this, but it's good that you're seeing a lot of these multi-team events now. We've talked about it with Duke and LaSalle, and I think this is something that could be pretty cool. Some Drexel fans can definitely attend and see their team and see some other teams too. Definitely some good competition. So, what do you think of this Market Street Challenge here?
Yeah, so it's a cool concept, and it seems like it's the way that people are going rather than go to an island and spend all that money and everything and go play in a preseason tournament. Although a lot of teams do anyway. If you're a small team and you don't necessarily get that opportunity, now you have one where you can go play against, and we've seen Arizona do this, Kentucky with St. Joe's. Oh, you all go to one spot. You play against the lesser team, so to speak, in the MTE on your home floor, but then you go to the big school and you play all your games there. So it's a cool concept. Not two games that are really going to move the needle for them, so to speak. Fairfield hasn't been great, and then Queens, they just made the transition to D1 last year. I like watching them play. They play fast. They play up and down. Really fast pace. Really successful team in D2 as well. They're going to be losing some guys But I did like watching this Queens team, and I know they lost to LaSalle at Tom Gola, but I think they're an exciting team, and I would be eager to go see them play. But yeah, 2 games they should win. It's a cool concept. Hopefully they do something like this in the future and include some other local teams. Like what if they included like a Monmouth or maybe a Bucknell, like in the future or something like that. So I think events like this, even with smaller teams like Drexel, are here to stay. I think you're going to see a lot more of this, where you have neutral site games, but then the school like Drexel will that'll be that kind of their bye games almost, and they'll play these schools. But cool concept, 2 games they got to win. I went to Fairfield. I have something for you, Kyle. Ready?
Okay.
I have a trivia question for you. So
Oh,
Fairfield since 2000, they're 2-1 against Drexel. Drexel's 2-5 against them all time, but they've only played 3 times since 2000. Fairfield's 2-1 against Drexel. So when they played in 2009, they played at Fairfield. The Stags won 66-60. Who was the coach of that Fairfield team?
oh boy, 2009.
Yep.
Can I get a hint
Uh,
without
hmm.
giving it away? Is there one?
I I don't know because he was.
I'm gonna
I'll
guess, and I
just
think I'm gonna be wrong.
okay.
Ah, wait a minute. I feel like I know who you're talking about, but I'm gonna get it wrong anyway. Was it Kyle Neptune?
It was not. It was Ed Cooley.
Ed
Ed
Cooley.
Cooley at
Okay.
Fairfield. So,
Okay.
and then I have a couple stats here. Since he left, Fairfield has been over 500 of the 12 seasons since he's departed. They have not had a winning record in 5 years. They've fair to say they've missed Ed Cooley. That guy can certainly
Listen,
coach a little bit.
Ed Cooley's he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
We know
But we'll
damn well
see. We'll
about Ed
see what
Cooley.
he's made of with Georgetown next year. But I had to throw that in there. I know when
It's a fun
Temple
one.
beat Houston, I threw a trivia question out to you. Like the last time Temple beat the number one team, it was
It was
Cincinnati. It was coached by
Cincinnati,
Bob
yeah.
Huggins. So if I
Yeah.
find little nuggets like that, I'll throw them out there for you. But yeah,
And
Ed
and
Cooley, how
back
about
at
that?
back at you too. Don't worry. Even though you'll
Yeah.
probably have more than I will. But
But hey, it's pretty cool. Cool. I wanted to find a cool little nugget because I was like,
no,
this
I
is
love
kind
it.
of meh.
I love it.
Like I like the Queens team, but fair. I had to find a little nugget for you for Fairfield. So there
There
you
you
go.
go. There
More
you
you know.
go. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is a really cool event. I honestly like I want all the Big Five teams to do something like this. Whether it's on like a larger scale for Villanova, like something like Duke's doing, or if it's something along the lines of what Drexel's doing with places like St. Joe's and LaSalle, or maybe somewhere in the middle with Temple too. Um, I think it's really, really cool. This is an opportunity for these colleges to travel. Definitely an opportunity for the colleges hosting to make money, which obviously is very important to them. We couldn't care less, but it's important to them. Not that we
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
care less. Money can get resources and nicer things for the university, so that is all true. But uh, different people have different motivators. But regardless, it's a really good thing, and I'm really happy that Drexel is doing this. Speaking of Drexel, they are playing a team this year that we are familiar with, and that would be the Princeton Tigers. Saturday, December 5th, they're playing at Drexel. They're 4-4 all time against the Tigers, and their last meeting was a season ago at DAC, where Princeton won 83-63. We know all about this Princeton team. They are really, really good. They're going to be good again because they had a pretty not like a crazy younger team, but they had some younger guys like Caden Steele, who were really, really good. Um, so what do you think of this? Not Caden Steele. What's his face?
Caden Pierce.
Caden Pierce.
I think
Caden
you're talking about
Steele.
the guy that writes for the Inquirer.
Yes, shout out to Caden Steele. He's a good Inquirer
Shout
writer.
out Caden Steele, yes.
Yes, Caden Pierce
He
is what I
probably was
meant.
not expecting to get a name drop, but shout
No,
out Caden Steele.
shout out Caden Pierce, yes. But shout out Caden Steele, but Caden Pierce, and that freshman class that they had last year. But what do you make of this game? This should be a pretty good game, regardless.
Yeah, it feels like this is essentially just a return game. So first of all, this game's actually being played at Princeton at Jadwin Gymnasium. Last time out, not great for the Dragons. I mean, they Tosan Aroma obviously declared for the NBA draft for went an extra year of eligibility that he had to serve elsewhere. But Not great for the Dragons. They got out rebounded 34-17, which is the one stat. Before I look at points, field goal percentage, I look at rebounds, I look at box score. If you get out rebound, if you get doubled in rebounds, an 83-63 result is probably what I'm going to expect. Just shot nearly 54% of the field. Ho hum double double any day. Just another day at the office for Tosan. 16 points, 13 boards. I will say I think this will still be a competitive game because I think Mitch Henderson's a hell of a coach. And you bring up, yes, they still have Caden Pierce, Matalako's still there. Blake Peters has another year. Three of their guards. Which, hey, this is a guards game. You need big guys. This is a guards game. They have three guards that contributed a lot, especially Caden Pierce at the end was putting up double doubles like it was nobody's business toward the end of the year. Matalako's perimeter defense and his willingness just to defend on that end, to play on that end is going to be huge for them. So they're still going to be competitive, but they lost a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of key producers here. So obviously with the Ivy League, you can't play 5 years in the conference. You can use your extra year of eligibility. Just got to do it elsewhere. So Tosan decided to forgo his eligibility, declare for the NBA draft. Ryan Langborg is moving up to the Big Ten, is going to be at Northwestern. And Keyshawn Kelman, a guy who was connected to LaSalle for a bit, going to be playing for Pat Chambers of Florida Gulf Coast. So they lost some guys. They're bringing some back. They're still going to be competitive. I think this will still be a good game. I think I know we're far out here, but give me Drexel to win this game because and whatever Lucas Monroe's totals are, I think he will surpass them and go over them because him being a Penn guy
Revenge game.
and not making the tournament, third his career there because you had Princeton there who was just a pain in their tail, it felt like, and beat him 3 times last year. I think this is a revenge game for Lucas Monroe to go back up there and play against Princeton being a Penn guy.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have this one circled on his calendar, that's for sure. Especially because the last 2 games he played in a Penn uniform was a 17-point halftime lead blown to Princeton, and then obviously the semifinal of the Ivy League, which was when we were at. It was a very back and forth game. They were winning most of the game. So he's gonna have some revenge on his mind. We'll see what happens there. I think it should be a good game. I think I'm also gonna take Drexel very, very early on. It is June. We have 6 months until this game happens. But
means absolutely nothing. So much.
It means absolutely nothing. Do not come back to these predictions.
Don't do anything with that.
When we have the preview show of this on December, whatever, or November, whatever, depending on when we record, then we can talk about predictions. But for now, give me Drexel. All right. Moving away from college, rather, moving on to the TBT, which we talked about in our last episode. We talked a little about the Broad Street Birds. They haven't officially gotten in yet. They're still campaigning, though. But they will have a former Temple, I don't want to say great, but he was a good player. Nate Pierre-Louis will be joining them if they do end up getting the bid. Currently plays for the South Bay Lakers of the G League, so he's still active. He was on Fran Dunphy's last team in 2019 that made the first 4, averaged about 13 points a game. The year before that, he was the co-AAC Defensive Player of the Year. So he's got some experience, and also former teammates are on this team: Shaz Austin Jr., Damon Moore, Quinn Rose, JP Mormon, Devondre Perry, Ernest Flackby. They're pretty much just running back the 2018-19 era, which is really cool to see. So Cope, what do you make of NPL joining the squad here, and will they be able to get into the tournament?
So that remains to be seen if they'll get it. I know they're doing some campaigning as far as guys putting Twitter stuff out. I saw Bobby Jordan retweet them. There's been some other on their Instagram or Twitter page. They've had some guys campaigning for him, and I'm not really sure how it works. I don't think it's necessarily a fundraiser type thing, but I think you also need to put up a little bit of capital for travel and everything. But look, for a team like Temple, where they're pretty much going to be bringing back some guys that are playing professionally, whether that's in the G League or that's overseas, I don't see a reason why they shouldn't get in. I think maybe what hurts them is that there's already the Big 5 team in, but also you have the championship and the semis that are playing, that are being played in Philadelphia. So why not give them another shot, give Philly another team to potentially get all the way there? But yeah, he's going to be a big addition. I said last episode, I don't know what like contractually if he can do anything with, like, if the G League will hold him out of doing that, but I would like to see him in there. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, NPL is on the roster. Yeah, really good defender, not a 3-point shooter. Shot over 58% from the field though last year in the G League, but that's because pretty much everything's 2. But good defender, good player in the G League who's, is right on the cusp of being a pro right now. Uh, will probably play Summer League again in the summer if he wants to do. Actually, no, that'll probably conflict. I don't know if he's going to be able to do double duty this year.
Yeah.
I think if he's committed now, if he's committed to TBT, he's going to be out from doing that. But they're pretty much getting the whole band back together from that 2019 team, and I don't want to say it's a shame Fran Dunphy's coaching, but if he wasn't, maybe if he was still retired, and then I think if he saw like how many of his former players were going to be playing on this team, he might still have enough of an itch to want to come out and try and
Yeah.
make a run at TBT. So, I mean, he's got other things. Obviously, he's got to work on it and worry about. But would have been pretty cool if he was, hanging out, playing golf, enjoying the retired life, and that was like, I think I think I can do this for like another month. I think I can
Oh
be
yeah.
back in the gym for another month. But yeah, hopefully these guys again. They also added Jason Thompson. How about that? From Mount Laurel, New
Oh.
Jersey, from Rider University, lottery pick by the Sacramento Kings. He was a Sixer for like 2 weeks, I think. And then they cut him. He just or traded him to the Warriors. He just retired from professional basketball last year after he had a stint with the Toronto Raptors. He was playing in China for a couple years. So you have another guy who's local, not quite a Temple guy, but hey, it was a lottery pick way back when by the Sacramento Kings. So their team is pretty much full now. I think they're just awaiting if they can get in or not. So hopefully they will be. I think the more Philly teams, if the championship will be there, is the merrier. It'd be cool. But MPL, man, if they can get in, as a guy who plays right now in the G League, he'll probably be one of the better players in the entire field.
Oh, I think so. I mean, especially because like, kind of like Jason Thompson, I think there's a bunch of retired players or players who play in less quality leagues in the G League. So to have someone like that who, might be on the cusp of joining the pro team soon, we'll see. Who knows? Or at least if not the Lakers, another pro team. Um, it could be really, really cool. I'm very, very happy for NPL and the whole team, and hopefully they get in. I really would love to see them, especially with it being in Philly. I think that's what really does it for me is, put in the Philly teams. Obviously, we got a team we're gonna be talking about in a second, but the Broad Street Birds deserve to be in too. I mean, every Philly team possible deserves to have a shot at this. And speaking of TBT, very, very excited for this. We have our first ever guest here in the Big Five Pod on episode 49. Cope, it took us long enough, but we made it. With us today, we have the pleasure of introducing Rob Hollomon, who is the general manager of Big Five TBT. Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. Can't complain. Excited to be on the Big Five Pod and, ready to talk some basketball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's get into it. This Big Five TBT team, I know that you've been wanting to put it together for a few years. You finally got in last year. I know the pandemic kind of hindered some things before that. What was kind of the process of getting the team together last year and then returning for this year?
Yeah, definitely. So basically I'm a Philadelphia native, Philadelphia guy. I played football and basketball in the city of brotherly love. Uh and basically I had a lot of connections with a lot of the guys that went to the Big Five schools. And that's I'm a part of the Philadelphia basketball culture. And I started the first year I tried to do TBT, COVID hit. And it basically was just a terrible time to, try to get involved with TBT because the field went from, I believe, 64 to about 20 teams. So that transpired. And then I was connected with a lot of the LaSalle guys, Ramon Galloway, Ty Garland, Reek the Run. The 20th and Olney team was a team that was previously formed and they already was a part of TBT. And I had the connections with those guys, so we tried to bring that back. But due to some overseas signings, we lost, a lot of the guys, in which that kind of hindered us. So I said, I got to figure out a bigger pool, right? Like I need more than just one school. So that's kind of how the Big Five came about. And yeah, we was able to put it together last year and get in.
Rob, thank you for being on, man. Definitely appreciate the time. So, you talk about you doing some recruiting, opening up your pool, getting all the Big Five teams in there, so we can understand your position a little bit better. what are your responsibilities as the GM of the team? And I wanted to ask you about your schedule right now. What's your practice schedule like, and how early in the summer, like how early does this process start to get prepared to play in TBT?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So being a GM, it's a tough process, right? Basically, I'm doing a lot of the things on my own. I'm recruiting, but you lean on the guys, the players, also our head coach Khalif Wyatt. So we are, tapped in with a lot of the guys, but it's recruiting. Basically trying to secure some sponsorship to help with our travel and lodging and different things of that nature. Then obviously filled in the TBT calls, right? Making sure that, I'm staying up to date with all the information given. So it's a lot of work, but it's fun. And then basically, uh, practice schedule normally, like last year, we basically started the week before our first game. We were able to practice at Temple University last year. And we just did a mini camp there. And we was able to scrimmage. We had some scrimmage days, and then we just did a lot of like little drills, just getting a lot of work in.
Okay. Okay. So as far as a preparation standpoint, then I wanted to ask you also, you mentioned your head coach, you have Khalif Wyatt in there now. So he used to play in TBT and he used to get a lot of buckets. So when you
A lot of
approached him,
buckets.
Right.
yeah, I mean, wherever he went, his last year at Temple, he was certainly getting a ton. So
Yeah.
when you approached him to be a part of the team, did you want him to be a player originally? Did you want him to be a coach? Was he in that transition to a coach at the time? Was there
Yeah.
any like conflict almost as to what he would do?
Yeah. So so me and Khalif, we are great friends. We grew up playing with each other and against each other. So we have a great relationship. So it's funny when I started the do the Big Five team, he was one of the first guys that I reached out to because I kind of was like I was kind of unmotivated, right, due to the LaSalle situation, the 20th finality team that I was trying to put back together. Because like I tell you, it's a lot of work that go into this. So I did all of this work for us to not get in, right, just due to like contracts and player signing and stuff like that. So I was kind of unmotivated, and I was talking to my fiance at the time, but she's my wife now. I'm like, babe, I don't think I'm gonna do this year. And she was like, you should try. You should give it a try. So I was like, you know what? It was I want to say it was about February, March, and TBT started sending out the emails to the GMs, and it kind of like got me hyped a little bit. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just text like Khalif and Ramon and see what these guys thinking. And when I text them, they was like, we're in. And it just kind of started. But to answer your question, I recruited Khalif to obviously play. But he was in that transition at the time from he was retiring. And basically I just wanted them to be a part of the organization or whatever I had going on in any capacity. So since he was getting into the coaching role, that opportunity was wide open for him, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, for
he
sure. Go ahead,
legend
Tom.
at Temple. He's a Big Five legend. What can I say? It's a good person to have at the head there. All right, let's take it back to last year though. First year with Big Five TBT, first game, Rucker Park. It rains, and then
Yeah.
you go indoors. You have to finish the game later. And listen, you've played in a lot of crazy atmospheres between football and baseball. Not baseball. I got my mind on the Mets right now. It's not going well.
Yeah.
Between football and basketball, you played in a lot of crazy
Yeah.
atmospheres. Where does that whole day rank for you in terms of playing at Rucker Park, then having to resume indoors? Where does that rank for you?
So I guess that was my first real I guess role as a GM, right? Like I'm a player as well. So it was kind of a new role for me as well. It was crazy, man. Like I would definitely say it was probably a top three experience, right? Because you thinking about it, like where we finally in. Hold on one second. Let me just send this because I was trying to get Ramon Galloway on also
Ooh, of
to join the show. So if y'all okay with that, I can shoot him a text and we
course.
can get him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So let me finish the story and then I'll shoot him a text and try to get him in.
Oh, you're good.
But long story short, yeah, it was definitely like a top three experience, man, because it was crazy. Like finally getting in, all the jitters Finally, like we actually playing, and literally 5 minutes into the game, it started pouring down raining, right? And being a GM, I got a lot of things that I got to handle now, right? Our team bus wasn't there, so we was stuck in the rain for about 30 minutes. We was under like tents. So I got all the guys and everybody asking me, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I'm trying to get on the phone and figure out. But TBT did a great job of accommodating us and getting us, giving us the enough time and the adequate time that we needed to refreshen ourselves and get over to the indoor gym and play. So it was definitely a crazy experience.
Now, here's another question I want to ask you about that. Were the guys disappointed that they couldn't play at Rucker Park? Because I mean, it's historic, and a lot of people dream about playing there in some type of atmosphere, just like TBT. And then for it to rain, literally on their parade, 5 minutes into the game. I mean, were the guys disappointed, or was spirits still high?
No, the spirits was high. Spirits was high. I mean, uh, from our leadership, from me and Khalif down to all of the players, we had a common goal. I had a vision with TBT, and they all bought into the vision. And our common goal was to win. And we knew that if we could handle business, we would get to play out there tomorrow. So that was kind of our motto. Like, let's just do what we got to do, adjust, adapt. We from Philly, so nothing really going to stop us. Like, just a little bit of rain. We had to transition. We did what we needed to do, and we just had our goals set to win to be able to play outside tomorrow.
I have a follow up to that actually. Before you try and get Ramon on here,
Yeah.
did that game get finished on TV, or like how did you have to like call TBT and be like, hey, here's what the score was, or what was the gym like? I would imagine there's not many people there. It's probably just you guys and the refs.
Yeah, so it was a crazy process, man. It was a crazy process. So TBT, like I said, they did a great job. So they were prepared for, obviously rain or anything. Like they had a backup plan. So we played in the Gauchos gym, a nice gym, one of the top AAU programs in the nation. So we went there. Originally, it was supposed to be no fans, like no fans were supposed to be allowed in. It was literally supposed to just be us, expats, and the referees. But through I guess expats, us, we was able to get some fans in the game, and we played a hard fort basketball game.
Speaking of Mr. Galloway, we have him here on the show right now. Ramon Galloway, former A10 first team 2013. Ramon, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on here. We appreciate it. So we were just talking about the Rucker Park game last year, which obviously there was rain, it got moved indoors.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction to the whole situation? How'd you kind of, go with the punches there and get a game in?
It was a different experience. It was my second year playing in the TBT, and it just was a different experience playing outside. But then when the rain was it was raining too hard, so we couldn't play. So we took it inside. But as far as the whole experience, it was really good for us, especially for me. Just being every basketball player, you always hear about the greats and the legends that played in Rucker Park. So just to be a part of that, just to be there and play there in the playground was definitely special.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not doubt that one bit. Cope, did you have do I saw you moving your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, did want to follow up with you, Ramon. Thanks for hopping over this on late notice. Man was just picking up a PS5, so he had more important things to do before we got on. So that's all right. We'll forgive him. Wanted to ask you about the just the whole Elam ending. I love the concept personally. I love that the game got to end on a made basket. And I felt like Rucker Park fit TBT so well because it's got more of a street ball feel because you have to end on that made basket. So I wanted to ask Rob you the question as well. How do you guys like the Elam ending? Obviously the NBA just put it in the All-Star format, and like do we think this is a format that you can see played at other levels of basketball in the future?
I'm gonna let the
Go ahead,
GM
Mo.
go first. Go ahead,
Oh,
GM.
all right, yeah. I mean, me personally, I think it's amazing. It brings the intensity of the game up. At the end of the game, uh, a lot of new strategies go into like how you want to prepare for the Elam ending. I think the only nerve wracking thing is if you losing, right? Like if you down and the other team get the 8 added to the, score. So, you could be down 10, but you really down 18, right? So it's
Right.
just like, that's like the only thing that I would say I'm against. But I think it's a great, great, great part of the game, and I love it a lot.
Yeah, just to add on from what the GM said, it's two sides of it. Like he said, you got the side where though it brings a different element for coaches and for the team because you got to prepare a certain type of way. But as far as like a player perspective, sometimes it's good. Like he said, when you up, it's good because you're close. But if you're down, it's kind of you fighting twice to get the win. But for me, I would like to play it all the way out, but it still make the Elam Ending make the game more intense because now you got to lock down, you got to get these stops, you got to make baskets, so it brings a more intensity to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, for sure. I mean, and I wanted to touch on this because I remember watching it last year, the year before Boeheim's Army was playing, and I wanted to ask you about the strategy with the Elam Ending because obviously you're not playing for the end of the game. Like, you got to end on a made basket. It's not like you're winning and time's going to run out. And I saw them playing. I don't know if I think it was the championship game 2 years ago. So they're down 3. They're down 67-65. Target score is 88. And they're jacking up threes because a 2 doesn't no good. The other team can still go down and have one basket to win. So I wanted to ask you, Ramon, like the whole strategy around it, like, you have to play for made basket. Like I said, time's not going to run out on you if you got a lead. Like, so is there like little small things like that strategy wise, like, hey, maybe if you're only down 3 to get the target score, like why are we shooting 2s? Why don't we just shoot a bunch of 3s and try and end it?
Hey, I gotta ask my GM real fast. Can I give him our little secret or no?
I
About
mean,
about
it,
the
it, it's cool. Go ahead.
So
I
all
don't
right,
know, man.
all right. So this what we was talking about. As far as like we was watching the games and stuff like that. Majority of the games is really like ends around like 60, like 70, 75 points or something like that. Close to 80 sometimes if everybody's knocking down shots and scoring. So our thing was really not to worry about scoring. It's more to like limit the other team. If we could stop the other team from scoring 65 points, then we know we'll be up. You get what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
we don't have to like go in a mindset of like we need a 2, we need a 3, or we got to do this. So we just lock down and play defense. It'll take care of the Elam Ending because if we don't allow them to score, we'll be up in the game.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a whole lot of sense.
But don't tell
I,
nobody. Don't tell nobody.
I
it's
won't.
just
I'm
us. It's
not.
just us. It's
I
cool.
won't put this
All
clip
right.
on social. Don't you worry. I'll do something else. Well, secrets are safe with us. All right. Now, in terms of some players, obviously, Quentin DeCozy, Ryan Daly, no longer on the team this year, but you're replacing him with Sage Tober III, Clifton Moore, who just finished their college careers. We'll get to. We're recording this on Wednesday. We'll get to that announcement of who just joined the team today in a second. But
Okay.
Rob, I wanted to ask you. How do you get these guys to join, first of all? And second of all, what do these two in particular bring to the team this year?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a great question. Am I here? I was
Yeah, you're
getting a
here.
phone call.
Yeah, we got
Okay,
you.
I was getting a phone call. Yeah, but yeah. So basically, like I said earlier, right? I basically had a vision for Philadelphia basketball, and a lot of my peers, because most of these guys are my peers: Ramon, Khalif, Maurice Watson, a lot of guys that I grew up with playing with. So it was really just about, hey guys, first and foremost, it's $4 million, right? So let's go get the money. But for me, it's also about giving these guys another opportunity, right? We getting to play on national television on ESPN. A lot of these guys are playing overseas, so it's great for their families to be able to come and see them in person again. So that's kind of like the way I approach all of my guys, and I'm just a real GM, like a real person. I don't tell them no lies, and I just give it to them straight, and they all respect that, and we all buy into the vision of winning. Um, and basically about Sage and Cliff. So I didn't know neither one of those guys. I just was, on my research, looking
Networking
for,
on the research.
yeah, yeah. Just trying to fill voids that I felt like we needed. And I'll start with Sage. Both of them are young guys just graduating. But Sage, when I seen his highlights and his tape, the first thing that stood out was his athleticism. His versatility. And I felt like that kind of hurt us last year, right? Like we was missing, I felt like that wing presence, that versatility presence. And I feel like Sage is going to deliver that for us this summer and be a perfect fit. And Cliff, obviously being a LaSalle guy, a PA guy, he got great size, great skill for his size. He can shoot it. He can put the ball on the ground. Defensively, I believe he was the single season record holder for blocks at LaSalle. So just that presence in the paint, that we can add was just a tremendous pickup that I felt. So I'm really happy about those two pickups.
Yeah, and then fast forward to today with Relier Hollis Jefferson joining the team, former Temple guy. What does he bring to the table too? I mean, you're getting a lot of great players to join this team.
Yeah, definitely. So Relier, another one of my guys, close friends I grew up with, playing AAU with him. And basically Relier was on my first original team, the COVID year.
we've been having to track him down for more so.
Yeah. So he was actually on my first original team COVID year. And then he actually was on my 20th and LaSalle team too. So it was kind of a funny story, right? Like he was supposed to play with us last year, but due to some things that he had prior engagements, he wasn't able to play. So this year it was kind of like, listen, bro, we end the tournament. Like you was with me from day one. I don't want to hear no excuses. Let's make it happen. And he just had to do a few things on his end, but he made the commitment today, and that versatility, more versatility on the wing. He's improved his offensive game so much, over the years from college, from young to college to a pro. So what he can bring offensively and defensively for us is unmatched, and we needed that, and I'm happy about that signing as well.
Yeah, for sure. No, big pickup. Kind of is that the last addition for your team? I mean, we have the selection show in a week. Is that do you have any more planned, or are you kind of set right now?
Yeah. So we get 12 roster spots. And we still got a little bit of time to use those spots. So we had a 10-man roster now, so 2 spots left. I may have a few more tricks up my sleeve.
Okay.
Yeah, not nothing
that I want to
publicize.
Tricks.
Yeah, nothing I want to publicize yet, because nothing really set in stone. But it's a possibility that we'll be adding, maybe 1 to possibly both roster spots filling them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, we'll stay tuned then. Obviously, I feel like you've been sharing a lot of secrets with us, so it's okay. You don't have to keep doing that. So I want to move toward the fact that the semifinals and the championship game are going to be in Philadelphia this year at Drexel at the Daskalakis Athletic Center. Clearly, you guys are already motivated enough to win this thing, but now that's going to be in your home city. How much does that add to it?
Yeah. I'll say that one more time. I'm sorry.
I feel like it adds a lot. It don't really put no pressure on us. It really more give us motivation to go out there and play harder, knowing that we're gonna play home for the semifinals and the finals. Knowing that we can have all our friends, all our family members there to watch us. Last year we had a few family members and a few player friends that came to the Rucker Park, but Benzo now is in Philadelphia. We're gonna be able to have everybody there cheering for us. So that's definitely our motivation. One thing that Rob said from the jump when he called me, said, "Listen, we in, and the chip is in Philly. Let's get it. Let's go." So, I mean, it's definitely motivation. We're gonna use it for motivation.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Playing at home. I know they had at Jefferson a couple years ago. I think they have probably played there. But yeah, pretty cool that they're going to be moving to Philly. And if you ask me, Philadelphia being a basketball city, they should have it here every year.
Right.
So now that I got 2 Philly guys on here, Ramon, obviously you played on that LaSalle team that went to the Sweet 16. Big Five's undergoing a couple of changes right now. So they just announced a new format. They're adding Drexel in the mix. They're going to have 2 pods and play a triple header in December at the Wells Fargo Center. So you being 2 Philly guys, what are your thoughts on that? The new format of the Big Five, been rid of round robins and then playing a triple header.
Man, I ain't
Go
gonna
ahead,
lie.
Mo.
I'm kind of uptight. I don't get to experience that. I mean, I'm happy for the Big Five, but dang, I wish I could be playing in Wells Fargo. But it's definitely gonna be a dope experience, and definitely adding Drexel to the Big Five is because everybody always asks that, like, why is 5 teams, but we got more than 5 teams. That's Division 1. That's good Division 1 teams. So I mean, I think the Drexel definitely deserve a spot in the Big Five, and it's just gonna make it more competitive. It's gonna make the bragging rights for Philly more competitive.
Yeah.
Rob, did you want to touch
Nah.
on that? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with Ramon. I think it's great for the city. It just bring more competition, more to play for,
Mm-hmm.
and just continue to bring more light to Philadelphia basketball and the Big Five. So I'm excited for it as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
I mean,
I played like I went to the University of South Carolina for 2 years, and they don't have no type of thing like that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Where you got in your conference, but then you got an inner city conference tournament, and it's something different, bro. It's like you can't like really replay the Big Five because of the history and everything you got at the Palestra. Like, you can't like you can't reiterate that. Like, it's something that's you got to be in Philly to be a part of, and you got to understand it.
not everybody has this tradition. I mean, it's something that's really, really unique to the city of Philadelphia. I think that's why. I mean, I know that's why Cope and I love it so much. I know that's why you guys love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
You really, really can't beat it. Now, to follow up on that, do you wish that the triple header was being played at the Palestra, or do you think it's cool that it's at the Wells Fargo Center?
I think it's in history you always got to have something that changed. What I mean? You always got to throw in like a wrench, like, and I feel like the Palestra is so historic that you don't really want to mess up the history that people created there for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes things could get dried out. Sometimes things can get stretched. So I think by them adding it in the Wells Fargo, it adds more to the Big Five. You get what I'm saying? Like, now they could actually probably bring more people, even though it always sell out. But now you can bring more people. Like, now that you add Drexel, you bring more students, more fans. So now it's a bigger. I feel like it's on a bigger stage now. Now you playing where the Sixers play is a bigger stage.
Rob, what do you think?
Yeah. Once again, I do agree with Ramon. Like, I actually love the Palestra feel.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Catholic school guy. So those semifinals and
Y'all know Rob was a elite scorer too. He probably
I
gonna go into too
know.
much of it, but he's an elite scorer.
Hey, 3,000 yards on the ground, 1,000 points in the hoop.
Oh,
We
that's
know about
crazy.
Yep.
you.
You know
We know
that.
about you.
Yeah.
Come on
Yeah,
now.
but no, just like I really love the Palestra feel. Like it's always electric in there.
Mm-hmm.
But for growth, I guess when if you want to look at the positivity in it, like you could just see the growth and the Big Five format and the tournament and Drexel taking it to Wells Fargo. So I just think it's beneficial and it's just a bigger step and more exposure for the guys. So I think it's a
Yeah.
good move.
All right. Two more questions for you here, Cope. I'll let you get this first one. I'll go after you. Go right ahead.
So I hate to have to ask this, guys, because I know you every time you enter this tournament, you probably get asked this, and you don't want to count your money before you got it. But if you guys were to win $1 million, what are you doing with it?
Go ahead, GM.
Yeah. Well, I would obviously invest. I got a few projects going on right now. So I would definitely invest in what I got going on and really just continue to take care of my family. So just invest and do something with the family. Just something positive with it. But it just would be a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to add on with that, like the same thing, hopefully we win. And with the money, I'll be looking to try to like start getting into like real estate investing and stuff like that. Just start trying to build some generational wealth for my family and my legacy.
That is a phenomenal answer from both of you. I love that. All right, last one.
Yeah.
And it's a question near and dear, I think, to both of us, Cope. We both are very passionate about this subject. But obviously, both of you guys are Philly guys. What's the one thing food wise everybody talks about in Philly? It's cheesesteaks. So I gotta know what's your favorite spot, both of you. Rob, you go first.
All right,
The
so
cheesesteak spot.
I'm gonna be honest, right? And I'm really a Philly guy, born and raised, but I don't eat cheesesteaks.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like
Man, look,
when you're from
look.
here, you get like they get shoved down your throat a little bit too. But they're good.
Yeah, but what I recommend to people just off of what I hear, um, I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the cheesesteak place right there in Mania, like right next to Roxborough, little youth
Oh, you
club?
talking
Delisandro's.
about
Yeah,
Delisandro's.
Delisandro. Yeah, yeah,
Delisandro's.
yeah. I tell everybody about Delisandro's.
Yeah,
Okay.
Delisandro's. All right, so I switched it up. You know, Delisandro's is definitely one of the ones because that's as close to where I live at. But my favorite personally is Ishkabibbles on South Street.
Good answer.
And I'm kind of showing favoritism because I'm on the Hall of Fame wall, so I'm showing favoritism. But at the
There you
same
go.
time, it's good. Now, I also tell people, like, if you want a real true, to me, being from there, born and raised like Rob, I would more take a corner store, like a Poppy store or something like that, cheesesteak over all of them.
I've heard that. I haven't gotten one from a Poppy store yet, but I have heard that.
Listen, well,
Try.
when you come to Philly, I got you. I'm gonna take you to a spot, man. I'm
Oh,
gonna
I'm
take
here
you
right
to the.
now. I'm here
Are
right
you
now.
there now?
When you guys
So
come here for the tournament.
yeah, well, we come for semifinals, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But no, I'll
Oh,
be up there. I'll be up there like July 11th or 10th. So we could probably go out to a spot and get something to eat then.
We definitely could. I think I think that exact day I'm going to Nashville with the Union. But around there, yeah, we can definitely.
Yeah, we'll
Definitely
figure
yeah,
it out.
well,
We're gonna figure it
yeah. I
out.
was gonna say we'll tap in with you guys for training camp. You know, if you guys want to come out.
Yeah, would love to. Would love to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but
That'd be an honor.
let me ask you guys the same question. Favorite
Okay.
cheesesteak, please.
Cope, you want this first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I have three spots. It's like a tie for me, but I have one that I think definitely sticks out. So all South Philly. I love John's roast pork because they give you like a pound of meat on there. You get a huge sandwich. So John's roast
Yeah.
pork on Snyder and Wakako. I love
Mm.
Wiz, but they don't do Wiz, but it's all right. The steak is still amazing.
Right.
Second's Angelo's. Angelo's, the bread is baked fresh every day. Except you don't get Wiz, you don't get American. The guy does Cooper Sharp, and it's like a little sweet. And it's awesome. But the fresh bread,
I'm going.
can't
What's
beat
the
it.
second one name? I'm going to go holler at that place.
Angelo's.
Angelo's.
Angelo.
It's like fairly
Angelo.
new. I used to have a store in Jersey, and then he moved to Philly, and I mean it's cash only though. Cash only. You might have to call and wait for an hour. Might be a bit of a hassle. But third and final, and probably my favorite. Place is open 24/7. It's right near the stadiums. I love Oregon Steaks on 10th and Oregon.
Okay.
To me, that would be the one that
Tiffin
sticks out to me.
Tiffin Oregon do got some good joints.
They
Thank
do.
you.
Yep.
They do.
Yep.
For me, the first two that he said are two of my top three for sure. I love John's roast pork. They don't have Wiz, unfortunately, and I'm a Wiz guy too, but it's incredible. Angelo's same thing, probably even a little better, honestly. The Cooper Sharp is also awesome. I think my personal favorite is Joe's Steaks. They used to have a location in the Northeast. They closed that down within the last year or so. Now they have one at Fishtown, right on Girard. So good. They load you up with onions. They load you up with steak. The whiz is incredible too. I don't know how they differentiate it from other places, but very, very good. De La Sancho's used to be my number one though.
I'm about to make.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. When we get home, Rob about to eat at all three of them spots because that's where we gonna go. And he called me, "Mom, where you trying to go? We going to one of the spots y'all named."
Sounds good to me. Hey Rob, listen, if you don't want a cheesesteak, we can go to Angelo's. They have also like probably the best pizza in the city too. So
Yeah, that's good with me. Pizza or chicken tenders and fries.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Simple man. I love it. I love it. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. It was incredible. And we'll definitely talk soon because we got a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Definitely.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much,
Thank y'all
guys.
for having me. Rob, I appreciate you for having me into the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, and appreciate
got it,
y'all as
Ramon.
well. Thank y'all.
All right. First of all, that was awesome. But second of all, thank you to Ramon Galloway and I forgot his fucking last name for a second. Hollomon. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we'll start again. 3, 2, 1. All right, that was a hell of a time right there, Cope. I'm not gonna lie to you. Shout out to Rob Hollomon, shout out to Ramon Galloway. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We very much appreciate it. And with that being said, that's pretty much all we got here, Cope. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yeah, it was good to have a guest on. I didn't have to hear myself talk as much, which is, I think, always a good thing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that was awesome. Got a surprise appearance, a guest appearance from Ramon Galloway, which is awesome. And it sounds like we might have a cheesesteak appointment coming up here.
We do.
So
I'm very excited.
Part of me is like, do we want to get these guys eating cheesesteaks in the middle of their playing season? But we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it
why
out.
that's why they're being paid to play basketball.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Rob's not playing, so we got to get him on a cheesesteak, for sure. Ramon, I trust him.
Yeah,
Ramon, don't worry about it.
I think we'll be good.
I think we'll be all right.
But shout out to them. Yes. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
We'll have to get more guests on.
Absolutely, and we will. Don't you guys worry. We're gonna have more guests on here. But for now, thank you guys. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, that selection show for TBT is going to be next Wednesday at noon on YouTube. So when this comes out, like obviously they're in. We're still waiting on Broad Street Birds, but hey, next Wednesday we'll get an official announcement to see where they're playing at.
And I hope that both teams. I mean, obviously, Big Five TBT is in. I hope that Broad Street Birds gets in too. That would be awesome. Listen, as much Philly representation as we can get, we love. So no worries there. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, we very much appreciate it. Episode 50 next week. It's a big one. Not that we are sure exactly what we have planned for it because we don't know the news yet, but we're going to figure it out. But regardless, you can make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can make sure that you follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram at Big Five Pod. And you can listen to our audio only versions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And with that being said, we will see you guys for number 50.